Good afternoon, dear students. So today is the class of class 9, history class. Then the chapter number 2, and the chapter number 2 is what? Growth of Indian nationalism. So before starting off the chapter, I shall ask you a question. Think in your mind, like, how did the feeling of nationalism, love of the country, patriotism generate in the mind of the Indians? Did it come all of a sudden? The answer to the question is obviously no. So, we have read in the earlier chapter, the last chapter, the first chapter of social studies, that the Battle of Plassey was a turning point of the beginning of British rule in India. The British people started to interfere the internal affairs of the country. Now, coming to the Mughal emperors, you might be knowing that Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal emperor. Please mind it, it's last powerful and not the last Mughal emperor. Why it is that? But from his time only, from Aurangzeb's time only, the country became disunited. Why? Because of his orthodox religious policy, his imposition of religious taxes on the non-Muslims. You might be knowing it. And then his orthodox policies, he was not at all a very liberal thinker. So people started to revolt against him. And the small rulers, the small kings, what did they do? They declared their independence. And the whole country was divided into small territories. So this was a very good opportunity for the British people to gain entry in the Indian affairs. So they had tremendous different policies how to have full control over India. Now, the revolt of 1857, it was the first, you can say, this is the first beginning, the first war of Indian independence. In this war, the Indian revolutionaries wanted to make Bahadur Shah II their ruler. So it was a time when all the country, all the people of the country, almost all the people of the country fought. They revolted against the British policies. You can compare it, the 19th century, the 1857, that means it's 19th century. You can compare this with the Renaissance which took place in Europe in the 16th century. So, now today we shall discuss the class for today. We shall be discussing the different factors which led to the growth of Indian nationalism. If we analyze the factors, the first factor which will come to our mind is the influence of West. So, if we analyze the different factors for growth of nationalism, the first is the spread of Western education. Now, the Christian missionaries who came to India with progressive minds, what did they do? They, along with some progressive Indians, initiated the process to revive the system of education. So, step number 1, what did they do? They opened schools and colleges in all parts of India. Fund was also allocated, almost 1 lakh rupees for education. Lord Macaulay, the president of the Committee on Public Instruction, introduced Western education with English as the medium of instruction. A very important, you can say, a phenomena, or you can say initiative which was taken by Sir Charles Wood was the Wood's Dispatch. He wanted to boost the Western education. For that, he made radical changes in the system of education. Number 1, he made a systematic hierarchy. That means step-by-step system of education from primary to the high school. and from the college to the university level. The next step which Sir Charles Wood did was he initiated to have vernacular language at the school level and English at the university level. To boost the children, or you can say to motivate the students, he also introduced a system of scholarship for the meritorious students. Next, he also started the granting aid to increase the number of educational institutions in the country. So with this, there are many schools and colleges were opened not only in Bengal but many other parts of our country. Now, the question which will come to your mind is that what was the British thought, or what was the British policy to, you can say, to initiate Western education in India? Did they want the welfare of the people, or they had something else in their mind? Actually, they wanted to create a permanent class of humble Indians who would serve only the interest of the British administration. They will be working as good servants, and their help could be taken when the company will need it. But when the Western education, the English education went to the mind of the Indians, you can say the liberal thinkers, the Indians, they became liberal and radical in their things. Moreover, they were also inspired by political thinkers like Rousseau, who had given their philosophy, and their mind was filled up with love for their nation. Contrary to serving the British interest, they wanted freedom from the British rule. If you analyze the background, in the background we have the American War of Independence, then the French Revolution, and the revolutionary thinkers like Cavour, Joseph Mazzini, the people who were behind the liberation or unification of Germany, Italy. These are the great people. So our Indian youth, they were actually fascinated by these great philosophical thinkers, and it generated a sense of nationalism in their minds. Moreover, poems of Ishwar Chandra Gupta, Bankim Chandra's Anand Mat, love for the nation was generated in the minds of the people. Iqbal's poem like Sare Jahan Se Acha, it roused a sense of nationalism. So the Indians became united. The British had thought to create disunity among the people, but their ideas or their thoughts went in vain, because people started to work for liberty and national unity of the country. So, this is the first step which was taken, that is the growth of the first factor which led to the growth of Indian nationalism. And what is that? That is the spread of Western education, which was spread. Next factor, if we are to analyze, and that is which led to the growth of nationalism, is the development of means of transport and communication. Now, why did the British wanted to make a development in the transport and communication? Actually, they thought India to be a very good market wherein they can sell their manufactured goods. So for that, they needed a development in the roads, the railways, and the postal services. So for their own benefit, they wanted that to happen. So today we shall be doing up to here, and in our next class we shall be taking up the other factors. We'll be analyzing it. Till then, till the time you go through the topics which I have taught you, And for any query, you can always share in our group. Till then, thank you.